Now. I think that's it. Ecclesiastes Chapter 8. We've been doing a verse-by-verse look at Ecclesiastes, and I tell you what, it's a deep book. My goodness, a lot of wisdom here. And we're going to try to get through verses 10 through 17 today. I think as we look at these, you're going to see something change in what Solomon has been conveying. He is starting to take the long view of wisdom. In previous chapters, previous verses, it was all about looking at life under the sun. And what did I say that was about? As you're looking at life under the sun, what does that mean? Ma'am? Yeah, on the earth. What's happening here in this life, this temporal, physical life? But now he starts taking a little different view on looking at wisdom. And I think it's very, very important. He has looked at how does wisdom help me today? What can it do to benefit my life today? That's been his look. But now, what will aid me with wisdom for tomorrow? How can this wisdom aid me in eternity? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. I think he's beginning to see that there are certain things in life that are completely out of his control. And if you know me, that is maddening to me. I like to make sure I am impactful and I can control the things that are happening in life. And my wife is nodding big time. She's about rattling her brain, nodding so hard. But you know, you get to the point of life, and I'm just talking from personal experience here, when you realize you can't control it all. Man, it's frustrating. When events of life happen and I can do nothing about it. Nothing. That's not a great place for me, with my personality, to be in. But it's reality. That's the way life is. But it leads to frustration when something happens and I couldn't control it. I was, yesterday, matter of fact, I was down right here on Rains, and we were heading home after soul winning, and we were at a traffic light, and there's a guy right next to me. Light's red. He takes off right in the middle of the light. I thought, I want to go chase him and pull him over and call the cops is what I want to do. And probably 10 years ago, I would have tried that. But Linda just says, settle down. You can't control that. I know. That bothers me. I can't stop that. That's reality. And he took off, and who knows? He got away with it. And I think that bothers me more than anything, that you get away with doing wrong. Really, really infuriates me. So I've learned that this is a factual thing. God's in control, and he's going to handle it all. All the injustices that we see in life, he's going to handle. The things that I want to correct in life, he's going to handle. One day he'll straighten out my wife, and he's going to handle that. I'll get in trouble for that when I get home. God will execute divine justice at some point. Make no mistake about that. When he sees fit, when it's his time, he will take care of it. But getting to that point in life where I understood that requires taking an inventory of my life and really understanding the things that I expect to happen are not rational and real. People are going to do what people are going to do. Look at verse number 10, if you would, of Ecclesiastes chapter 8. And so I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of the holy, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This also is vanity. You know, there's something in life that we will never control, and that's death. It's coming. It's coming to all of us. I remember as a young man, I can remember thinking this, having deep discussions with people about it. I was convinced the rapture was going to happen before I was 50 years old. Now, I know some of you think, well, you haven't reached 50 yet. I know all of y'all are thinking that. But it didn't happen. Now, I still believe that it's going to happen. but it may happen after I meet death. I can't control death. And I wonder how often we think about that day. I wonder how often we ponder the day that I step into eternity. You know, I've thought about that day. I'm an odd type of fellow, and obviously I think about weird things. But that day's coming. And I found that when we think about that day, and we think about the inevitability of stepping from this temporalness to eternity, that it changes how we live our life temporally. I want to live a life in this temporal world that is cognitive of the day of death, because I know that's when real life begins. Solomon went to this funeral of this guy, and it brought reality to him. He noticed that this wicked person was praise coming from the holy when he came to worship. But at the end, he saw all that praise that guy received, that wicked guy. The praise that he received was futile because death came to him. Thinking about death. Do you ever think about the temporalness of the things that we place as important in life? Bills, money, my career, my job. Man, if we're honest, that takes the preponderance of time in our life and our thinking about things that are temporal rather than thinking about things that are eternal. Does that make any sense to anybody? I hope it does. I want us to change how we view the totality of life. And when I say the totality of life, I don't mean the 70 or 80 years that we're living here. I'm saying from now to eternity. I want us to think in the long run, the long-range things of what life really means, and not be so focused on these 70 years. These 70 years past, man. Belle is 22. Man, it just seemed like just the other day I was 22. I mean, just the other day. That's hard to believe, but that was 40 years ago. 40 years ago. 2 more lifetimes for you. And it, like that. Death will come to you too one day. And the priorities that we place in our lives are important. The right priorities are important. Do y'all know who Ted Williams is? Who's Ted Williams? Yeah. What did he do after he died? Do you know? Yeah, he's trying to cheat death. He put his body in a cryogenic freezer. I don't even know if scientifically if that works. He thinks it did, I guess. We're not cheating that day. That day will not be cheated. It's coming to every one of us. And it's important that we live a life with that in mind. Look at verse number 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. There is a second thing that we can't control in life, and it really harkens back to my red light runner that I was next to yesterday. We cannot control the depravity of man. Man's depraved. I'm blown away by watching the news. There's not a day that I watch it and think, what are people thinking? How could you do what you're doing? You know, I think about right now, take Russia and Ukraine. What's going on there? Did y'all see the machine that Putin has with his soldiers as they enter into Ukraine? Have y'all seen that machine? This is what he's done. He has these big machines, and they're mobile crematoriums. They call them evaporator machines, where when their soldiers, Putin's soldiers, die, they put them in there, they're gone, so that they have no bodies to send back to Russia. so that he can control the emotions of people in Russia. What kind of mind does that take to think? Who would sit down and even, that would never cross my mind. How does that cross somebody's mind to even think about that? I can't control the depravity of man. Man is depraved in his thinking. There's not one thing I can do about that. This morning we were coming in, and it's almost by the moment update with what Putin is doing, that he put his nuclear force on the highest level of preparedness. In other words, nuclear people, get ready. Why would somebody think like that? We can't control the depravity of a person like Putin, and I can't control the depravity of anybody else. These are things in life that I would go mad trying to control. I'm not going to sit here and worry about what Putin is going to do because I can't control it. The depravity of man. Only God can control a man like that. Look at verse number 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him. We can't control either the justice that somebody should get, or the injustice that they have, or the mercy that they receive. We cannot control that. Here, Solomon is seeing a sinner whose life is extended. Have you ever wondered why bad people live so long? I've wondered that in life. Have you ever wondered when a reckoning will come for evil? When will somebody like Putin have a reckoning before God? When will that happen? When will justice reign? Wouldn't you just like to live a day where everything that you saw was based on right and not wrong? I would love to have a day like that. When will reckoning come? When will those who are wreaking havoc on society today receive the justice that is due them? I think about Antifa. And how do they get by with doing that? I remember watching a news program, and I think it was Portland. Antifa people were going up and physically assaulting others, and the police were over there and did nothing. It started in my toes, and it worked up to the top of my cranium, and I was red and furious. When will justice happen? I can't control that, but when will it happen? When will the anarchists that we face receive some justice? You know, you look at the news, and you look in New York and Chicago and Seattle and LA, and people busting into stores and just getting all that they want. When will justice happen? When will we have where society is based on right and doing right and not allowing injustices to go on? A sinner commits a crime, and it seems like he is immune from punishment in the short term. But let's make no mistake about this. Wrong will be dealt with. Maybe not in my timeline, in my time frame. Wrong will be dealt with. You do wrong, and there's going to be a cost to it. Sometimes it seems you do right, and there's no benefit to it. Keep doing right, because there is a day when justice will be delivered, period. It's going to happen. Solomon is seeing all of this. Despite the injustices, he knows this: God will deliver on his promise to do right. Solomon knows that in the end, all will be well, and it will be. I cannot control any of this, but I know in the end, Everything that's happening today, everything that we see happening today is happening to fulfill the divine will of God Almighty. He is doing that. Does that make any sense, guys? I hope that this is making sense. I want you to see that he is starting to see. Solomon is seeing something. He's been talking about things that are happening under the sun, and all of a sudden he's realizing, you know what? I'm never going to figure it all out. But I know one day right is coming. Righteousness is coming. Look at verse number 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before God. The next thing we can't control is the delay of divine justice. I think about one of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of Genesis. I love the book of beginnings, and it really gives great insight to life. Do you know that even in Sodom and Gomorrah, he delayed his justice just a little bit, just to see if people would turn to him? I believe that what we're seeing today is God's mercy and grace waiting for just a few to turn to him. Jeff wants the wicked punished yesterday, but God doesn't do that. Man, and I got to tell you, from a personal perspective, I'm so glad he doesn't do that, because he would have got me. I'm glad he still doesn't do that today, because he would still get me. We have a merciful God, and he allows the things that we see today to give people time to turn to him. And as I was thinking about this, it smote my heart that when I look at them, I want justice now on them. For me, be a little easy on me. Take it easy on Jeff. I'm glad he's a God that will delay his justice. I can't control his timing on any of that. But thank God for it. Thank God for that. In the end, the wicked will receive the punishment due them. You know, I don't know. I wish I'd loved to have given you the song to sing this morning here. But as I was studying this, I thought, in his time, he will make everything right. In his time, he'll show me the way. You know, it's so true. In his time, he will deliver me. And in this storm, he will be glorified in his time. That's what it's all about. All the wickedness, all the evil, all the things that we see in his time. He's going to take care of it. And he's going to be glorified. You see, in the end, it's not about me. It's not about them. It's not about you. It's about him. All of it. All of it. All that we see. It's about him in his time. Let's look at verse number 14. There is a vanity which is done upon the earth, that there be just men unto whom it happeneth according to the work of the wicked. Again, there be wicked men to whom it happeneth according to the work of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. There was a book written, and I'm sorry I didn't catch the author's name, but it was Good Always Wins, through tragedy, through evil, through all eternity. But it sure doesn't seem that way, does it? It doesn't seem that good always wins. My experience in life is that good people face difficulties. They face problems in life. They get a church that has $1 million debt during COVID. I don't understand that. We're well aware that our best efforts to live righteously, to live for Him, are often met with no prosperity. They're often met with bad health. They're often met with no acceptance from families. But no, God does reward right. God does answer prayer. It may seem like, and you've probably been there just like me, it seems like I pray and His timetable is way different than mine. It seems like when He answers, it certainly isn't what I expected. But I know this, all of this is in His time. What Solomon is trying to convey here, let's get our expectations aligned with Him. I think where I get in trouble is I have what I want. I have what I desire in life. I pursue what I think is best for me. And it's not aligned with Him. And it causes frustration in life. I don't understand why you are not doing this for me, God. I think Solomon is trying to show us here, it's not about us. It's not about us, period. It's about Him. Bad people are rewarded. Good people aren't. My heart went out to the Ukrainians that I saw the other day, Christian Ukrainians. I saw in a park. And they were on their knees begging God for protection. Sometimes that's what He has in store for us. Trouble and difficulty. Doesn't mean He doesn't love us. It means it's exactly what we need in life. I think we need to adjust our view of Him in life. I don't know if this is making any sense to you, but I pray that it is. Look at verse 15. Then I commended mirth. What did I say mirth was before? That's a word we don't use a lot. Does anybody remember what mirth means? Mirth means amusement as expressed in laughter. Ha ha ha, that's mirth. That's what mirth is. Then I commended mirth, because a man hath no better thing under the sun than to eat and to drink and to be merry. For that shall abide with him of his labor the days of his life, which God giveth unto him. You know, we can't control the destiny that we have in life. I think one of the joys of life are having a child. We don't know what the end of that child's life is like. Where the path leads could be exactly in accordance with what God wants, but where it leads, we have no idea about the destiny of life. We can't control, even living right, where we end up. Who knows who Charles Weigel is? Y'all heard of Charles Weigel? Charles Weigel, he was a preacher. And after serving the Lord for many years, his wife left him because she didn't want to be part of that church stuff anymore. Who would ever have thought about the destiny, the destination of his life? That doesn't seem right to me. He's the guy that wrote, "No one ever cared for me like Jesus." I don't know where our destinies lead in life, but wherever it leads, let's not place blame on God if it doesn't end like we want it to. If somebody we love doesn't end, their life is not where we want it to be, don't blame God. God can take anybody and use anybody in any situation of life. And one more point and we'll be through. Let's look at verse 16. verse 16 and 17 actually. When I applied mine heart to know wisdom and to see the business that is done upon the earth, for also there is that neither day nor night seeth sleep with his eyes. Then I beheld all the works of God, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun, because though a man labored to seek it out, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses and I can barely see this, to seek it out, yet he shall not find it. Yea, further, though a wise man think to know it, yet shall he not be able to find it. You know, we can't know it all. I have a very curious mind. I do, man. I love investigating and learning things. When our granddaughter is at our house, before she goes to school, I'll bring her into my office and I'll set her on my lap and I'll start Googling tsunamis. And me and her will watch tsunamis and I'll explain to her what is going on here. And then other times we'll look about earthquakes or forest fires, just different things. I love exploring. I love learning about things like that. But Solomon is saying here in verse 16 and 17, there's some things in life. Don't waste your time trying to figure out and learn. You're just not going to know it. You can't know it all, Belle. You can't know it all, Jeff. There are some things now. With my granddaughter, I am not going to waste my time or her time looking at the vileness of the world. I'm not going to spend any time looking at that. I'm not going to spend any time having her listen to some of the music genres that are out there that are wicked and evil. There are some things I need to control about what I think about and what I investigate. I have many questions about life that I want to know. I grew up as a kid in a divorced home. And my dad, as I've told you many times, has divorced multiple times. I want to find out, God, why divorce? Well, why? I believe he has used that in my life to help me, to help others. I want to ask him, Lord, why all the hatred? Why do people just hate each other for no reason? I don't understand that. And those are things I'll never figure out in life. Lord, here's what I think about all the time. Lord, why do I have to labor so hard just to live? Just to get something to eat and a place to live? Why do I have to do that? I'll never figure that out, but I do. I have to do that. I'll never get the answers here on earth. But Solomon observed that all the works of God that he can see, he can't classify them or categorize them all, and that he'll never know it all. Solomon was trying to know it all. His bottom line was this: I won't know it all. I have got to trust him. And I ask you, do we? Do we trust him for all the unknowns that are out there in life? Or do we frustrate ourselves trying to figure it out, or blaming him, or getting aggravated at others because of the station or the situation that we have in life? Solomon had a long-term view now of wisdom. And this is what he ends up saying. We'll get to this in a few weeks, but this is what he ends up saying about it. This is the whole conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment and every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. I just pray that we refocus our thinking about this life and have a long-term view of eternity and not a view only of the temporal. We're dismissed.